Welcome back everybody to the second part of the projectile and animation events video. We just set up our projectile script. It looks like this. If you got lost at any point, feel free to rewatch the other video, or you can take a snapshot and make sure it looks like this. So once that's set up, we want to be able to instantiate these projectiles, and they'll be deleting themselves, but we want a way to spawn them. So we are going to need a place to spawn them off from the reference of this player. So what we're going to do is open up the projectile prefab and make sure we have the script attached. If we were to just do it in this game window here in the hierarchy, and we said projectile, or we could drag and drop, then if we go into the prefab, notice it's not there. So this is why you always have to work in the prefab, because that would only work on this one instance of the projectile. So we can just remove this real quick, open up the prefab, you can either add component or we can just drag and drop into there. Then we want a shuriken object that we'll be referencing, and that will be this. And we'll say its max distance it can fly is 15 units. Okay, so we want to save that, head back. Now what we're going to want to do is give the projectile a reference point on where to spawn. So in combat, we're going to say when we do this and spawn it, where do we want it to spawn? We want it to spawn at the hand transform, or the hand position. So we'll give it another serialized field. We'll add a serialized field of type transform and call it hand transform. And then the next serialized field we need is going to be the projectile that we're spawning. So if type projectile, we can call this projectile. And we will set that to null. And then let's save that right there. Go back into Unity and open up our third-person controller. Scroll down, and I did something that I told us not to do, which was I didn't attach this combat script to the prefab. I only attached outside. So let's do that real quick. Drag combat over, make sure that's attached to the prefab so that it's attached everywhere else. Go back inside the prefab, and we're going to take our projectile script, or our projectile object, from our assets, drag it to the projectile slot, game object. It's going to notice it has our projectile script attached, and then we want to find this right hand transform. Now, the way skeletons work in the humanoid avatar and the humanoid skeletal system, they always start from the hip and go down the legs and up the spine. So the hip is the origin point for most rigs. We're going to open up Ninja, start at his hips, go up his spine, spine 2, spine 3, find his neck, right shoulder and left shoulder. We're going to go right shoulder, right arm, right forearm, and then find the right hand. The right hand is going to give us that spawn point right there. It doesn't have to be right in the fingertips. It'll be really quick. It'll look close enough. We're going to go to third-person controller and drag this right hand transform into our combat script. All right. Now that we have that attached, we need to do all of this and instantiate it when the animation is at the right point. So this is the cool part. Let's go back to our animation we had, our throwing animation. Open this up in Edit and scroll down a bit. And let's do a little play here. Okay, so we want it, where do we want it? Right about there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on this drop down arrow here. It's called Events. What this is an animation event. So as you can see, as we move the slider, it moves this this slider up here. So we want to tell it at this point, at frame, what is that? Frame 22, we want to click this little button over here on the left. It's going to add event. And click that. And now we have a new event. It's a new function. Notice this is a function. What this is going to do is this is going to create a function called new event. We don't want it that. Let's call it throw. What it's going to do is it's going to have a function in the game called throw, and it's going to be called every time that animation hits that point. So if we apply it, save, head into the game, we should get an error. Hey, at least our shuriken's flying off in the right direction. We should get an error right at that point when we throwed saying third person controller animation event throw has no receiver. Are you missing a component? So what's telling us is it's almost like if you're familiar with an interface, interfaces say that these are the functions in this class and they need to be there. So what's happening is now there's a throw function, but it isn't being called anywhere. So what we need to do is go back into combat where we do this get mouse button down, set trigger attack. We want to also make outside of update, we want to say void throw. I have squigglies right now, but Unity's awesome and it figures out that, hey, we needed that function because we made one here. So what are we going to throw? We want to throw our projectile. So once we do throw, we want to create a new projectile and we'll name it projectile instance, and that will equal an instantiation. So instantiate a object, and the object is projectile of type projectile. So we can say projectile object, and where is the, so it's asking us an object, the position, and the rotation. So we're going to say projectile object. We want it in the hand transform that we have up here, and we want the rotation to be the rotation of the hand. So we'll say turning on dot identity. So that will make sure it's read only from whatever rotation this transform is at. And this should be hand transform dot position. Sorry. So we'll close that out, save, and now head back into the game. When we hit play, our initial one shoots out, and when we click throw, we get our instantiated projectile throwing forward. Now it should disappear. Let's see if we can chase it. Doesn't look like it's staying. That's pretty good. Perfect. Okay, real quickly, let's delete this out of the scene since we don't need it anymore. Since it's in prefabs, we should be good to go. One last test. That first one's not there, and we can still throw our stars. They look like they're spinning. Let's just yeah, they're spinning around. Perfect. Cool. Very good. Good job, guys. That'll do it for this one. The next topic we're going to be going over is the animation override. and that'll be in the next video. And that's going to give us the option to set up multiple animations in this attack trigger that we have here. So every time we press the get mouse button down and set the trigger for attack, we can have it check to see what weapon we're holding, or if we're not holding any weapon at all, then it'll just throw the star. But if we had like a sword or something, we could attach a sword swipe animation to the same attack functionality. So I look forward to seeing you guys there.